Hey everybody, it's Dave Clark, aka the Pattern Guy. Hey, we're going to do a chalk talk today, minus the chalkboard. Okay, so sit back and enjoy. Hey everybody, Dave Clark, aka the Pattern Guy here. Sorry you didn't see me last week. I made a couple promises that we'd get some stuff done. We had a quarantine for COVID, so unfortunately, you know, everybody's okay in the family and that, we're good, but we just had to quarantine and weren't feeling too great, but you know, nothing big. So back at it again. Another drawback we had again, I wanted to start showing you the patterns and getting going. I got a job we can do. My bandsaw took a dump, so I'm on the verge of getting that fixed right now. It's an electrical problem. My electrical is not good with me, so I gotta have somebody help me out with that. I want to wait a couple more days with the COVID thing. So I still promised you to go over a lot of different patterns. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of patterns. Here's another one right here. This pattern, actually these boards, these things go on what's called a BMM machine. It's British molding machine. These are for high production. Okay, so they got some locators on here. They go on a table on a machine, and it's just an automatic molding machine. No hand, nobody touches anything by hand. It's all done by machine. Okay. Here's a core box to it. This actually takes a core. I guess that would be one spot, you know, a guy will have to put the cores in, but as far as molding this job, it's the machine does the whole job. Okay. The reason this is in here is they don't need as many of the parts. I'm going to dismount the patterns off the BMM boards, and we're going to put them in what's called cope and drag boxes. So we're going to build some different boards, and we're going to put permanent boxes around these, and now they're going to do them by hand. It's way lower production. So when I do this, I gave the guy a quote. It's not a done deal yet, but if I get this job, I'll show you how to make the cope and drag boxes. We'll do this job in here, okay? That's one of the things where, like I said, I said it's a new process. It's not a new process. It's been around for quite a while. It's just getting more popular is what it is. A lot more foundries are going with the cold set sand. It's just way easier. Like I said, it's got pros and cons with it. You use a ton of sand with this, and you got to get rid of it. First place I worked at, Aero Aluminum, they had a sand reclamation system. They had a system that was called Pep Set. It was all done by air, and it was hardened by air, sand hardened by air. And once they poured the casting, when they busted the casting out of the hard sand, it went into a crusher and it crushed it up, and you know, you could reuse the sand. Aero Aluminum was a big foundry, so you know, smaller foundries that do this particular system, they just throw the sand in the hopper and it goes to garbage dump. Okay, another type of pattern, when I was showing you the castings that I had cast, I told you about a little door, and I said that this came from Little Engines, Jesse Banning Locomotive Works. Jesse bought Little Engines. He bought all their equipment. Okay, so the equipment that they sent were these nice, it's real neat little system. Okay, these are aluminum patterns. Usually these are for like way high production. I don't think they did that much production on there. I think it just made it for this particular system. What this is called, there's a couple different terms that you use for this board. Okay, it's kind of a match plate, but you can either call it a shoe because it's you can pop patterns in and out. You could put different, he's got all different kinds of patterns on the same size little piece of aluminum, but they're all different. So you can either call it a shoe, or it just popped out of my head. We'll come up to the other terminology for that. But what it is he's got hundreds of these. Okay, so if he needs to do 50 of these and 50 of another job, what he can do is we can put this pattern in the shoe. You know, this is the same pattern basically, right? But I can also run a different pattern in here, okay? When he bought it, he had a match plate that you could put 4 different patterns in there. I didn't have any flasks for that, so I actually went to a local fabrication shop, and they sell drops. Here's another thing, you know, you get to know different places where you can get stuff, okay? So they do aluminum there, and they do steel. So I went up there and got some 3/8 inch steel, or 3-inch aluminum plate, okay? For me to buy this from a regular like supplier that supplied aluminum, this plate was gonna cost me about 120 bucks, I think. Didn't have the $120 at the time, and this is for me, so I can run it in my foundry. I'm not giving this back to Jesse. So when Jesse sends me these patterns, I'll have this shoe where I can, you know, put his patterns in my shoe, because then these fit my flasks, okay? So what happened was it popped in my head to go and see if they had any drops at the fab shop. So I went up there, I actually purchased, it was a bigger piece of aluminum, so I made this match plate where I could put 2 patterns in, and then I also had enough left over where I made another match plate for my smaller flask where I could just put 1 in, and it cost me like 34 bucks. So I mean, that saved me a lot of money, and I actually made 2 match plates rather than just the 1, or like a shoe. Okay, so on this one, a lot of the patterns that he sends me to do, they're fairly similar. So I just, you know, keep my, this is a sprue bowl, and I keep the runner on it, and I just change the end gates on it every time. All right, so in changing these, this is all temporary, okay? So in doing the one video on the tools that we use specifically for pattern making, a lot of those tools weren't specific for pattern making. Also, you could use them for doing furniture making but there's going to be a lot more tools. I can't do everything at one time with all this stuff. You know, same thing with these, you know, we'll do the different patterns as they come in, okay? So here's another specific tool that I should have used in getting this out. A lot of times you have to have a fillet in the patterns, so you can't have a square edge. It's got to have a nice rounded edge, okay? So there are several types of fillets you can use. Mostly what I do is I just go down to the local auto body shop, and I get a gallon thing of Bondo. This is regular auto body Bondo, okay? I use this not only for fillets, I use this to fill holes in. A lot of times you're making patterns, you know, you dent it, you drop it, or, you know, you're cutting something, you can fill in little saw marks. So what you do is you get this little pieces of steel, and then you put different radiuses on them, okay? Excuse me. All right. So one of the things you can do with, you know, the radius tools is, I don't know if you can see here, but there's fillets around here. And the reason I put the fillets around here, putting fillets in a casting, you have to do it. We'll get into this down the road. Okay, you can't have a sharp corner because it weakens the metal when it starts shrinking, and it'll crack. Okay, so you want to put a fillet in there. All right, this particular fillet I put in here not for structural. This is to help mold. You know, you put these on the pattern to help when you make your sand molds, because the sand will stick in a straight corner. You know, that's another thing. So if you put the round edge in there, the fillet in there, you know, the sand's gonna pull out a lot better too. So that's the main reason I did it on here. All right, so when I did it on here, this is temporary. I can change the different patterns in here. All right, so instead of using plastic fillets, another fillet you can use is wax. Okay, and I don't know if you can see this. We'll try to lean over there. See how it's dished out a little bit there? Comes to a point. Okay, so that just, you know, fits in the corner. Okay, and then what I got is, this is an alcohol lamp. You get these at Freeman. Okay, I've seen guys, actually the first one I had was made out of an old oil can. I don't know whatever happened to it. But it's got alcohol in it. You light it up, and then this is a specific tool here to pattern making. This is specific. These are called fillet balls. See, okay, and you got different radius balls. All right, these you can get at Freeman also. All right, here's like a real big one. They get all different sizes. Okay, so what you do is you take your wax, and then we'll do it in real life one day. You just heat the ball up, and then you scoot your wax in there and get your fillet. Okay, so later on down the road, if I gotta change this, I can knock all these end gates off and just scrape the wax off real quick. And if plastic, it would be a lot more difficult. Okay, so here's another type of fillet also. These are more permanent also. This is leather. Okay, leather fillets. So same thing. You can see it's not so much dished out, but you know, it'll go in the corner. And then you take your fillet ball and squish it. You put glue down. You just take regular glue, okay? And you can glue, like I said, once we get a job, you know, I'll show you how to do some leather fillets and that. But the leather, it's expensive. It's usually for bigger jobs, really big jobs. And then a lot of times, like I said, I've been in such a habit the last 14 years just doing plastic and that. I don't use the leather and the wax too much. But I'll show you down the road how to do each process. You know, all three of them: the plastic, leather, and the wax. Here's another thing too, as far as tools. This is a fillet ball set that I use as an apprentice. Okay, now this is where I was telling my buddy Blaine said we could basically make anything. This is a homemade set. This is my dad made this when he was an apprentice. All right, so he turned these on the metal lathe, and that he made the different handles in that, and yeah, you just take one of the fillet balls out and screw it in there, and then, you know, heat it up and run it, you know. So, you know, we'll teach you how to make you know, different things. Here he made it. There's an angled, you know, one here, so you can put that in there, put your ball in, and then you can get in the angles in the corners. So you can make a lot of your own tools and tooling also. We'll get into, you know, some of that as we go along and everything. But a lot of times it's, you know, a lot of guys, I mean, even today, I mean, getting started, you can't afford a lot of this stuff. You know, so if you can make it. To this day, you know, I'm doing all right, but you know, I'll still make things, you know, quite a bit and that. So yeah, having the foundry for me, it's nice because, you know, you can make a lot of toolings. Like I said, we're gonna do the flasks. Flasks are very expensive, and you know, like I said, we'll be able to do all our own flasks and that out of aluminum and everything. So this week, I hope, if things go good, you know, hopefully everybody stays healthy and everything. I never made it down to the foundry like I said I was going to do. I didn't want to, you know, infect my buddy down there in that. So we should be good this week. Hopefully we'll get down there and do the job we were made the flask for, get that poured. So we'll do a little foundry video. And then I have a project that we're gonna lay out, you know, start gluing stuff up and build a pattern. There's a core box to it, so we'll make a core box, show you how to do that. Then what we'll do is take it down to foundry. It's gonna be aluminum casting. We'll cast it out of aluminum, and then we'll bring it down back to this shop, get it on a milling machine, and we'll machine it. All right, so until then, everybody have a good day out there. Talk to you.